What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of A Thinking Man's Podcast. I'm your host. My name is Joseph PIRCHER, and with me, as always, contest prep shredded, Tommy Styles.
Yeah. Face
How's
is
it
coming
going?
off.
Yeah, how's it going, buddy?
It's good. It's getting into the fun stuff. You change every day.
Yeah, and I feel like knowing you the way that I do, and especially with how open you are on air, anyone that's listening to this probably knows you kind of thrive in this setting where it's just the gnarliest setting of your whole year. So it's been cool to see. We're going to talk about it in front of the audience, though, so everyone can get a little bit of a perspective on both the X's and O's and the physical side of it at this point, and then also the mentality and the mindset. But for some context, let's paint the picture. How many weeks or days out, and where do things kind of sit for you in terms of how you're feeling?
Um, where are we at? As of today, three weeks and some change, like 3.5.
Okay.
And then of the first of three.
Yep.
Um,
Shredded. Ready to
I,
go, ready to rock right now.
yeah, I hit a new low today of 230.9. So
Yeah, you're ready to rock. He'll probably bring you back up from there.
yeah, I have well, this is recording today. This will drop tomorrow. On the day that it drops, I have a high day. So um Lucky Charms, sushi, the whole nine.
So by the time that somebody listens to this, you're gonna be neck deep in carbs.
I could be eating Lucky Charms as the first person walks.
What's that? Is that like 800 grams plus?
Yeah, around 875.
Oof.
Um
And
so
so
we
what
did that.
has yeah,
We did
what's
that
the response
Monday.
been? You did that. Yeah. So go ahead.
We did that 2 days ago. And then I was 231.4 starting that day. And I'm a half pound tighter today on Wednesday. So today's a low day or non-training day. So I assume we'll feed up and then I'll keep just yo-yoing up and down. These high days may continue as close.
Indefinitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cardio is still the same as what it's been. 6 20-minute sessions on the spin bike. As far as
Now,
like
how is that?
how I track that, like I move.
Yeah.
I don't use a step goal. We don't use one with like Dom and I don't, but I have a good enough grasp on like how much I need to move, with
Right.
my errands and my daily chores. And um, if it was something where like I was chained to a desk working 40 hours a week, that's where I might have to be like told to move more. But
Yeah.
it's not hard to get movement in for me.
And how is the change from the stairs to the spin bike? What have you noticed?
It's
Or
more
any
mental.
reflections or observations? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it's more mental than I like the stairs because it's I throw a YouTube video on and kind of zone out,
Yeah.
let my mind wander and be creative. On the spin bike, it's actually I feel like I have to give more effort. Like I even listen to music like trance and tech, something to keep me pedaling at the same rate. Say I have like a spin bike cardio playlist, like a little bunny. But
Where can the people find that at?
I'll put it on the Patreon.
I love it.
It's it's a hell of a pump, I'll tell you that. I get a nice
Yeah.
quad pump on the spin bike.
And are you going? It's steady state.
Yeah, keeping the heart fasted. So that's the big difference is we move cardio to fasted. Stairs I was doing in a fed state, either post workout or
Okay.
anytime during the day on my off days. we did move the cardio to fasted a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
So I like that. I love, like, if there's I don't need to argue about whether fasted cardio works or not. It's such a good feeling to get up, do your morning stuff, and then go straight to do cardio. Like, there's a bro science approach to it as far as like momentum forward for your day and prep overall.
And I don't think it's any bro science. I think there's something to be said that at a certain time of every day, you do this task that you do not want to do. There's something to be said for starting your day with overcoming something and winning, even if it's something small, like just doing what you're supposed to do. I'm with you. I feel like a machine when I'm on a timed, regimented, like deep contest prep, fasted cardio run. There's a quote, and I'm not even going to know it, and I'll probably botch it, but there's a quote or a sentiment to like loving the madness or the chaos. And part of that is that, like, waking up when it's dark and going and doing cardio, fasted for a contest prep. There's just something about that. So that's cardio.
Too, the
Yep.
cleanse. We changed to
Oh yeah.
fasted when I added in cleanse. So
Yeah.
I think that, everybody has their own schedules, and you work with what you got or what you can do. But, if you're hearing this and you're like, have reservations about doing fasted cardio because it might mean you have to get up a little earlier, like, that's part of contest prep. Like, maybe that's just what you have to do. But to leverage the drugs that you're taking, growth hormone, clen, yohimbine, I just think that you need that fasted window. So
Thyroid too, even.
yeah.
So I'm with you. There is something to it. It makes sense, honestly, when you know how all these things work, and when you see that bodybuilders that have done it for 35 years all got better results. So so we talked diet a little bit with the high days and where food and body weight is at. That was cardio. Training wise,
This has been the biggest call it reflection
yeah.
/ mind fuck for me. And I think anybody can probably tap into this. Usually the better you look, it can be said that performance is probably worse to what you're capable of. So my training's all over my Instagram. We've talked about it, how I go about it, but I've had a few injuries this prep, a few strains. Mentally, I'm strong. The drugs I take leverage strength for me too, even though I'm supposed to be getting weaker with, losing body fat, but it's not, there's no mental loss of the ability to tackle heavy weights. But I think the body just has a point of where it's just going to break. It's more susceptible to breaking with certain loads and certain movements and just patterns based off of how lean you are. So I've had to kind of change my outlook on training to, and I'll give credit to Dan Garner for this. I saw this on his Instagram about a contest prep. Rhythm and consistency of the training versus progression and overload. So I have completely abandoned trying to get stronger. Even though it could be there, I don't go for it. I just train moderately with load, and I'm about rhythm and consistency of the reps. So if I have to, like, normally when I hit a point where I'll have to pause, take a couple breaths, I don't do that anymore, because that to me in prep is just going to fry your CNS. Say you're at the top of a hack squat and you go for one more rep. I'm not doing that anymore. Like, when it gets to the point where I would need to stop, the set's over, and I might opt to do another set just like that with the same weight, or I'm just done with that movement. I'm not putting on tissue at this point. There's no, even though I'm having these high days, we're talking about, carbs through the roof on certain, overall, I'm in a deficit still. I'm still dropping body fat. I'm still, like, the goal right now isn't to get strong and add, tissue. It's just, that's not the season I'm in. So that's been the biggest, reminder to myself daily is like, the training isn't as fulfilling. My performance isn't as fulfilling as it is in the off season, because it's just not the overall overarching goal of what I'm trying to get on stage with the lowest body fat possible. I can't do that if, how pissed would I be at myself if I set a PR 3 weeks out. I also fucked my shoulder up.
Or tore a lat and it looks deformed on stage.
Right. And then I have to deal with it post show too. And now I just messed up my off season all for my ego on one day of the prep. You know what I mean? So it's just a lot of like, I almost have to override anything I want to do in the gym. When I've texted you, I just said, I'm a California pro, dude. I'm trying not to train overly hard. I'm training hard. I'm training to failure. I'm using intensifiers. So I think that kind of gets mixed reviews in prep. You're supposed to pull the intensifiers. For me, I'm keeping them in as a means to tax the muscle without necessarily having to use any more load. I've even dropped loads from where I'm capable of, just because I don't want to chance using that much weight with, certain movements when I'm as lean as I am.
Yeah, I'm completely with you, man. I went through this my last prep, not to make this about me, but at a certain point, it's like you want to bring like crazy hard, dry, like best in show type conditioning. And the training is way less fulfilling than how you and I like to train. And the main goal became different. Like you said, you touched on all these things. All of the points that you made are huge maturation points and learning points for people that are at whatever part of their journey, because you're an advanced trainee at this point, and this is like a big new level of understanding the entire process. So anyone at any level could hear that and say, you know what, I could pull from this and benefit from this, because it's a difficult thing to be able to just basically step aside from what you want to do. And honestly, my training has been like embarrassing at those points where I really don't even want to go and train. I just go because I have to go.
I can relate to that. I mean, that's basically, I described contest prep as, actually I described bodybuilding throughout the year as, in the off season, you're completely fulfilled from training because performance is through the roof, but you're very meh about how you look because you're kind of a fat slug who sweats a lot. And then in prep,
Thanks.
You look awesome. Like, let's be real, you look awesome. You're shredded.
You look
there's
phenomenal.
veins, there's striations, there's things happening, but there's no fulfillment from your performance. It's almost like, oh, cool, I did 2 sets of laterals with garbage weight, but my delts are striated, but I can't keep going because I'm tired. I don't even want to train anymore. A lot of my movements, I'm picking movements that are like machines that I don't have to even load plates on, because it's like I'm trying to conserve as much energy during training as I can. I did the leg press the other night, and even unloading and loading 6 plates aside by myself, which is like half of what I could do in the off season, was like a workout. I was breathing heavy and like noticeably tired. So these are just all, I don't want to call them struggles. They're just part of the game, but that was why, I wanted to face that in prep, because I am so performance based, and I've spent so much time in the off season throughout my bodybuilding career that I've never had properly learned how to be a prep bodybuilder. And, I don't want people to think that your training has to change dramatically when you start a contest prep, because that's not the case. But we're talking like inside 6, 5, 3, 4 weeks out that, you almost have to like come up with a battle plan that makes sense to get to the final day, versus like, all right, today I'm going to go in and load as many plates as I can and do the hack squat. Like, for what? You're going to be fatigued. Your central nervous system is going to be absolutely smashed, and that could affect your look in your check-ins. That's the one thing I am like, I have a good eye on my fatigue and my, like, how do I feel? Like, yeah, I'm in prep, it's hard, I'm tired, but you start to know what CNS fatigue feels like. And it's, all this fatigue management talk, you actually have a grasp of it to where it's like, all right, I know how to stimulate, don't annihilate. Lee Haney had it perfect. He was way ahead of the game when he said, just stimulate the muscle and get out. And I've been able to do that now that I have an idea of, like, you have to override your feelings and your ego as much as possible every session, because the desire to do more is there, because there's almost a frustration building that you're like, you're one working set in and it's like, man, I could go home. I'm done. I'm good. Like, this is, the muscles pretty zapped already.
I'll say though, just as one point to interject, yeah, you're 3, 6, 9 weeks out, but this is not the norm for people in terms of where you are from a conditioning aspect in correlation to the weeks left. So the average, let's say just mid-level NPC competitor, people are not that hard and stripped of body fat at those weeks out. So really, more so than a number, I want people to think about it in terms of being objectively hard. If your glutes are ripped to your butthole at 6 weeks out, that's the time that you need to consider making these adjustments to your training that Tommy has talked about. If that doesn't happen for you until 2 weeks out, well, then don't make that adjustment until 2 weeks out. If you're not super peeled, you're probably not needing to make big changes. But being that you've been lean for a long time in prep, so that almost, I think there's a long cost too that's like overarching the longer you're very lean the way that you've been. So
Yeah, I would
all
agree.
good things, man.
Your condition will dictate what the best move is. And that like, on the topic of high days and refeeds. So when your coach gives you that, remember that it's for a purpose. It's not for a psychological break and, like, have, like, yeah, I'm eating fun carbs. It's Lucky Charms. It's
It
sushi.
may be though for
It's
some
Jasmine
people.
Reese.
In your
It can be
case, it
perceived
is.
as that, but
Yeah.
what I'm getting at is, I made sure that I didn't go into the gym and do 40 more sets just because
Oh,
I had
right.
all these carbs.
Right.
Remember, you're getting the refeed because you're depleted, or we need to keep the ball moving on fat loss over the course of it's not like I'm giving you all these carbs, go do 40 more sets than you've been doing because you have all these carbs. Remember, like, it's almost like you're giving you more food to rest, but to keep the process going. So younger people listening, because you're going to feel carbs feels like
Did you struggle with that? Because early in I would say the first 70% of contest preps that I did, someone would tell me to go eat more, refeed, a cheat meal, whatever their version of it was. As a coach would tell me to do that, and I felt like I had to do one. I felt like I had to do more work, and then two, I felt like I wanted to do more work. I was like, oh, the vascularity, the pump, all this shit. It was all emotional. It was all feelings. But I totally struggled with that.
Oh, of course, yeah.
It's like you said, it's completely,
Because it was a work
it's
harder contest for me. It was like, fuck yeah.
that's it. That work harder and suffer more contest. Like, I almost would not even want the refeeds, you know what I mean? At a certain point. But you're totally right, because that's a counterintuitive thing, because it makes sense, but really it's backwards. It's doing the opposite of what we want. And that's why I've seen guys do it, and I've used it here and there, where a good time for that type of person, we've talked about knowing the psychology of your clients, and, knowing if they're kind of cut from that same cloth where they're just a worker, and that's when all else fails, they will push through. With those people, it's sometimes best to just feed the fuck out of them on a rest day or a couple rest days, where you say, hey man, don't go to the gym for 2 days and I need you to eat all this food. And then on day 3, they show up and they're like the same body weight and ready to burst full.
Yeah, no, I've done that where it might not even be a refeed day where I change the diet. It might be like no cardio, no training, 2 days in a row of high days. And that
Yep.
little uh change can get them going, like losing weight, progressing, tightening up, hardening up, whatever. Um, so, but I just wanted to point that out because Instagram makes it seem like you should go to the gym and try to set a PR on squats if you have extra carbs on a day. And it's like, no, you actually should train pretty much the same as you've been training. You're going to feel different, but it by no means, remember, like, again, this whole, we're talking about remembering what you're getting ready for. That's been my whole reflection there. This prep is like, why am I here? What am I doing this for? Am I just the gym bodybuilder who wants to post me doing heavy shit on Instagram for a couple hundred likes? Then be that, like, own that. Or am I trying to bring the best, hardest, leanest, dried out, sucked in physique I can to the stage? And that's gonna, no one, the judges, we talk about this all the time. The judges don't care if I was doing stiff leg deadlifts 2 weeks out and other people, they don't give a shit. They care what's in front of them. Like you said, if there's a bruised hamstring because Tommy had an ego and wanted to see how many plates he could pull when he knew he wasn't growing at all, that's on me for being an emotionally charged person. I talk about emotion and making a logic, like that's where I'm at right now, is not giving into the emotional desire to train the way I love to train. That's
And
hard.
that's
It's
why
hard.
earlier though I said that I feel like knowing you, you will enjoy this though, because this is truly your time that things are extreme for you. So it's
Yeah.
like this is your time that you get to practice all of this stuff and really lead from the front. So it's been awesome to see, man. Just hearing that whole kind of observational summary that you had was cool to hear because I know how much you love to just fucking get after it and train with heavy weights. But as your friend, I've seen you do that shit 5 million times. I want to see you bring crazy fucking healed, dug out Tommy to the stage and slap that on the NPC website to live forever, you know?
Yeah.
And then two, like we've talked about and like we've seen, these guys that take crazy strides in shorter durations of time, let's say like a year or so or less, a lot of times what happens before picture is they held a deficit for a long time and maybe even over dieted themselves. And then they come out eating and training like a fucking ox and they come back 25 pounds heavier the next year.
Yeah, that's how you
I'm putting that
skip
in the air for you, is what I'm saying.
skip a weight class or
Yeah.
go from a low level person at your weight class to, like, all right, I want to if anybody listened to the Cade Zook episode where he
You about
talked
to tell the
about
turtle story, bro?
the turtle story, and then
I nearly gagged. I was eating and I'm struggling, not struggling, but the food isn't a breeze right now. And I'm eating
yeah,
a meal the other day, and then Kate is talking about eating turtle poop and hair. And I'm like, man, this is bad news. It almost came back up.
now he made a post that said 272.6 just squeezed into the supers. That's where you
Oh
go
yeah.
when you're like at the upper echelon of size. But um yeah, I think it's all a pendulum. It's like, I remember there's probably clips of me on this podcast or talking to you in December about, I know I was ready to prep. I wanted to be in this position, and now it's like,
Yeah.
man, I got one eye in August, and I'm programming my off-season training block, because once you see yourself stripped down, you're like, I need
This. Yeah.
this. That's cool. So it's all about, trying to remain present, understanding that one season leads to the next. In 4 months when I'm removed from this look and this feeling, I'm sure I'll be like, damn, that was nice. But
Yep.
I think you can learn, there's parallels to what you can learn about your off season, and how, like, some of the things you learn in prep as far as training can carry over. because my muscle connection is through the roof in prep, like with your ability to connect to everything. So you want to, much like you want to hold as much hunger as you can going into the off season, you want to hold as much of that ability to connect to the muscle too, because at the end of the day, we're bodybuilding, we're not weight moving. And I keep really harping on myself to bring myself back to that at times, because I can get lost in moving weight just because that's what I love. I love that. So that carries me to like you and I are not like you're forcing food, you're big, you're swole, your pumps are probably through the roof.
They
Uh,
are.
that like where are you at with reflections on where you're at? Because like we're the perfect like
Yeah.
dichotomy right now of like I can't even do a lot of, I don't even need warm-ups. Like it's interesting to me that I can walk into the gym and almost start like I don't have to do my usual routine anymore, because it's just like I'm just connecting, you know what I mean? Like I could squeeze my chest
Yeah.
and
Well, you don't want to waste any of it, one. And then two,
exactly.
the preparation to do what you're about to do is not equal. You know what I'm saying? Like that performance and what it needs to get ready for in the off season. Yeah, you better take your time getting ready for it, because hell is to come. But
I was just saying,
you
it ends
know,
up being like 20 minutes of just like
yeah.
broomstick dislocations, PVC pipe rolling, like warm up reps.
When I'm on top of my shit, my mobility and everything stability before I work out is 10 or 15 minutes, and I'm usually sweating by then. That's not to say much because I'm usually sweating through most scenarios, but um, yeah, I guess. And what was your question? Like in terms of reflections, yeah, we're like the antithesis of each other right now. We're at the opposite ends of the spectrum. Um, yeah, it's been awesome, man. This is maybe the first time I've fully had 2 feet in the off season in terms of like the mentality and enjoying it. Because I've always, in part, there's always a contest planned or whatever the case is, or you're deep in the off season and you want to be lean, you don't like how you look, which is the case most of the time. um but I'd say the last year or so I've just had such a good groove of my training, my health, um just all of it has really clicked. The drugs are higher than they've ever been, of course, but everything else is better than it's ever been. So that, and making a shift to where I prioritize whole food, was something I kind of deep down knew that needed to be done, but also it was convenient and easy to kind of let whey and cream of rice and shit make it up and get it down when food was really high. But it's been interesting because my digestion is better now. On paper, I would make the seemingly logical argument like, hey, we're pushing tons of food. It makes sense to use these pre-digested, easily digested sources. And it's really been the opposite. I mean, I pretty much just eat vegetables, meat, and rice 6 times a day. I do 2 cheat meals, and a lot of times it's just that meal plus like some snacks and shit that I pick at because I'm a child. But it's that alone, I think, is one of the bigger individual variable changes that I've seen tangibly on my physique and within my body. Um, and it's just carried over everywhere. Now, I will say all these aspects of bodybuilding for me right now are at a new apex or a current apex. And the one thing that is on the opposite trajectory is my sleep. My sleep is terrible right now. Um, Even I was dealing with some issues with interrupted nights of sleep from waking up from my pins and needles feeling in my hands and arms, my arms going dead from the growth hormone. And I was doing 4 units before bed, which was half of what I was doing for a day. I moved it all to the first thing in the morning. I go train after meal one. A lot of times I can't feel my hands if I'm squeezing a dumbbell. So that can get a little sticky if they're heavy or if I'm pressing them over my face. But it has helped in terms of sleep at night, but my sleep apnea is way worse.
Are
So
you gonna
that's,
add in do you wear a CPAP?
I tried and I never got a moment of sleep with it. I had it for like 4 months, and every single night I would wear it. I did everything that they told me. I was smoking tons of super purple weed. I was taking melatonin. I was doing everything you could possibly do to fall asleep. And I would put that thing on and I felt like I was going to have a stroke. So
I've never wore one. I'm gonna try it this off season just
you
to see.
should. I was honestly, there's been times we've talked while you're in the off season and I'm floored that you didn't need one or didn't have one.
Yeah, I only will snore if I'm like on my back and my chin is like that, like I'll cut
Same.
off my own airway, but
Yep.
I know that my sleep is it's not good as far as
Right.
quality. I can sleep a lot in segments in the off season. Um, but I
Like you
think
don't wake up refreshed. If you get 8 hours in bed, do you wake up refreshed? Like tangibly refreshed? Or is it just like this
I
is
don't
how I
have a
feel every
recollection
morning?
of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
can
it
sleep
would make a
after every
huge
meal.
difference. It would, from what everyone else's experience that have had a good, like it's life changing for people that it works for. And it's a noticeable difference. Like you wake up and you're like, people have said, like, oh, this is how I'm supposed to feel when I wake up after a good night's sleep. I never got that. It's crazy, but I'm starting to turn to some of these like other little almost like kind of gimmicky options. But I've seen people talk about this online where they tape their mouth. So I just bought like, I'm not going to plug the company because they're not paying me, but it's supposed to be like the most heavy duty looking shit. And it is, it's super heavy duty. But I have a wicked like sinus infection and allergies going on. So I think it would probably kill me if I tried it right now. So I'm going to hold off, but I'll get back to you on it.
I've heard them say that like even people with nasal reconstructive surgery and shit can wear the tape and they can get uninterrupted perfect sleep.
Wear
Um,
the tape over their mouth or over their
yeah,
nose. Oh, really?
yeah.
Man, I would love it, dude. That would be so sick. If it was like
A
noticeably
lot of people
better.
are talking about it. Like
I know,
it's
I fell
one of
for
the
it.
trending things. No, it's on my list of. I mean, the CPAP is definitely something I'm going to try. That and just actually making an attempt to have quality sleep, or
Right.
sleep in general. But
It just
uh,
comes down to schedule, dude. And
I
I
think
know that you're like a man, we're cut from the same cloth, dude. You get that like wild nighttime energy about you, and it's like it's tough to maintain it.
no, Turner's the same way. I mean, he'll be up messaging me at like 3 a.m. his time. It's 1 a.m. my time, and we're talking ideas for the next show. And I'm
I
like,
know.
we shouldn't be doing this right now.
I know. I know.
But yeah, I will say right now in prep, it's like I've got it down to where I sleep 2 3 hour blocks in a 24-hour period. I don't know why. It's not intentional. I wake up at the 3 hour mark and usually to pee, but it's not like groggy wake. It's like a wake up, pee, and then lay back down, and it's like that feeling you just like I'm
Can't
rested.
turn your mind off.
I'm refreshed. I
Yeah.
mean, refreshed as you're going to be in prep, and it's like I want to start doing something right now. Just laying here is stupid because I don't want to start eating. It's it might be. I've literally
Right.
started the day at like 4 in the morning. Um,
That I think is just straight up from the Trembolone sandwich, dude. I can
it could be, but I'm
I
rested. The thing I'm not inflamed. I'm not.
no, that is my point. I
Yeah,
think that gives your overall CNS such a fucking supercharge that you're just like, I'm a bull on 3 hours of sleep.
yeah,
I have experienced exactly that every contest prep that I've ever had.
but it doesn't last. Like midday, it's
No, it
like
doesn't last, but it's gonna be 2 hours that you feel like that. So it's not just lay there in bed.
yeah.
It's get up and do something. And also, I'm not a scientist, and this is just for entertainment purposes, but it could be like the exact 3 hours. I've been on that, but half, where I think like deep sleep cycles are 90 minutes. So it could be you're getting two of those and then you wake up to piss.
Yeah, like yeah. Last night I had an alarm set for 7 a.m. and I
Yeah,
At
bro.
least
I see you message me shit sometimes, and I'm like, did
yeah,
this
no,
motherfucker go to sleep? Like, we just talked.
they don't know.
Like, I'll wake up to a message from you, and I'm like, this is a different conversation than the one we left off on. What the fuck was he doing up?
Yeah, so but I was in bed doing my breath work and like putting myself to sleep at
Yeah.
3:07, and then I like slept 6:11. I get up without any help to go pee, and it's like I'm good. I feel like great. Let's go.
Yeah.
Check in.
Without any help, have you had someone helping you to the bathroom?
Helping me to the bathroom.
You go, I get up to pee without any help.
Oh yeah, yeah. My depends. But yeah, I'm gonna ride this, obviously I'm not advising it, but
Yeah.
like I said, I have such an in tune with my training, my CNS, I can even I even can tell in my pick, like if I am inflamed, I can see it and I can feel it. So I know I'm getting enough rest to like the scales are going, I
To
hit new
recover.
lows.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not going the other way. I'm not inflamed. I'm not holding water. Like
No,
I've never
if you were
I've never
getting
been in
not
this good.
enough,
Like I will say, I've never been in this good a condition in my life. Like my low
agreed.
back is etching out. Like I've never seen
Agreed.
that before.
Yeah, agreed. All of it. There's shit that I haven't seen. Like your glutes have a different look to them. Your low back has a different look to them. Even like the crevice from your rear delts, like to your tris, has a different look. I think from what I've seen from you. So it's good, man. It's working. You just
So we
gotta
talk
land the
else.
plane, motherfucker. Don't do anything.
Yeah, we talk sleep.
Land the fucking plane.
Not doing dumb shit. Stick, obviously, listen to what your coach says. Stick to your diet, but a lot of it is, and I talked about this in a post, is like it's really simple. And I think the problem is in prep, you're so charged on some of the compounds you're taking. You just have to remember, like, hey, it's boring. It's like eat the same, like literally eat the same food. Don't add new sauces. Don't try a new energy drink. Don't do this. Don't do anything. Like if there's ever a time to like be a robot and literally I could tell you my day's moves off the back of my hand right now. Like nothing is different as far as like I run the same errands. I go to the same stores. I purposely am going to the store more because it keeps me moving more. Like it's steps.
Yeah.
It's constant movement. After every meal, I do some sort of like, whether it's dishes, putting food away, prepping food, like movement after eating. We're talking about, steps and that whole craze, but you can expend energy just by move. Don't just go to the couch and watch Netflix because you're lethargic and tired. Like do some house chores, do anything you can to stay on top of just activity.
Yeah, if any of my clients are listening, don't listen to anything he just said. You're all wearing step trackers.
My clients are wearing a step tracker. I
Little secret, I haven't been wearing one either. I've just been doing the same thing. I intuitively know especially I have the dog now and everything. Like whether I wear that fucking thing or not, I'm moving all day.
We also work our own, like we make everything we do is this, like we give ourselves our work schedule. If I don't want to sit at a desk to work, I don't have to. I started standing at the coffee shop now and working standing.
Yeah.
And like when I stand, so think about this. This is
Do you look
nerdy.
like a psycho?
Like I shake my hips back because I don't like to stand. It's like you ever seen guys in the lineup that are not on the like second call out, third call out. By the end, they're just kind of like rocking back and forth or
Yeah,
like
that's neat.
me.
That is neat. I see
Exactly.
people all the time. Making fucking content, making reels, making this shit. And they're talking about doing steps and going for walks. And that's neat. Motherfucker, that's not neat. Look this shit up. Go look at what Lane Norton has to say about neat. Because if anybody knows, that motherfucker knows. It's little shit like that. It's you moving around. It's you moving your fingers and your hands and shit and fidgeting. That's neat. And it is caloric expenditure. It is. Those people, I saw something that people that fidget and people that reported that they like can't sit still and all these things were always leaner than people that didn't report that.
Did Andrew Huberman say that?
Probably. Yeah, I didn't just
I
pull it out
just
of thin
saw a
air.
clip from him about people that like tap their foot while they're sitting, or they're like
Oh, right
do
on.
like this. They're
I've
like, they
seen
look
Late Norton
anxious.
talk about it at length.
Andrew Huberman said they burn like 1,800 calories a day if they're constantly doing that stuff.
Yeah.
Think about that. Like if I just tapping my foot sitting at any place I'm at, I'm just, even right now, I'm burning calories, bro. You and me right here.
Oh yeah. I'm rocking back and forth all this motherfucker. That's why I'm so sweaty, I guess. Um,
Yeah, the sweating is, it's brutal.
but the if I had to, I guess if I had to title this episode live for us, or just like the summary of all the things that you really pulled from this contest prep for yourself, I think it's just keeping the main thing the main thing. If I was going to put it simply, right? Like the main thing right now at this level of body fat and where you are in contest prep season, the main thing is bringing a healthy physique to the stage because you've already nailed it. You already did all the work and you don't get any bonus points or rewards for doing RDLs with 5 plates at 2 weeks out or leg pressing 12 plates or barbell rowing 4 plates. Nobody gives a shit because there's going to be somebody that did a bunch of pump basic California Pro workouts for 3 weeks leading up to the show and shows up and they look healthy, full, and peeled. And so why wouldn't that be you then? If you did all this work for the last 2 years to set this up, why would you let your ego in the moment sabotage all that work that you did? So I'm pumped for you, man, because I've been waiting on it. I tried um not pulling it out of you. I'm not taking any credit for it, but I'm glad that you got here because being that peeled, you just don't even have the stability. It doesn't matter what your training is
No,
like all off season. It doesn't matter how much you work stability, all that stuff. At a certain point, like if you're really ready and you're setting a new look for yourself with conditioning, it's pretty bare bones in terms of what your body is capable of on like a large systemic scale. Like it isn't like you said, it's almost like you feel like you're ready to break. When I'm the times that I've been really peeled, when I go into the gym, I feel like I'm anything could go at any time.
I've had that.
Yeah.
It's psychological at this point because it's almost like you don't want to train timid because then you invite something to happen. But
Right.
it's like I'm very in tune with like I I could go for another rep, but I'm honest. I'm just gonna rack. I'm gonna rack
Yep.
it. Going
Yeah.
to. I'd rather be called a pussy and feel like one mentally for 10 seconds than me go for this rep and I feel what I felt three. I felt the pops, the strains, the little ripples in the muscle, like, and I know exactly what you get so lean that like you can feel where your hip like the indent of
I
like
know it's
what's
fucked
intended,
up.
and it's cool from like a the human body detail. Like you could nerd out on it, but from like take this is like off-season leg workouts can get as close to 3 hours for me as far as like
Yep.
all the exercises, the loading, the warm-up sets. Right now, I'm training legs in 1 hour. I'm doing everything
Yeah.
in 1 hour and I'm out. Like,
Yeah, that is a very good example of how different the two can end up being just on the deep ends of the two spectrums. Not all the time, not most of the time, not even really some of the time. But like I just recently started training with somebody too for legs, and it's damn near 3 hours, dude. Like if
yeah,
we do it all right,
it's
like
an
if
event,
we do
dude.
mobility, we do calves, we do it all right, and it's a full leg day, it's fucking man, it's probably 2:45 before I look up at the clock, like in terms of time. So yeah, I feel you, buddy. Just bring it home. Just bring it home. You did all the work, bro. You did all the slag shit. This is what you have. This is the result of all that work. This is what you have right now. So show it at its best, and then it's time to fucking add to it. But right now, keep the main thing the main thing.
Yeah, no,
I
that's a
sound
good.
like I'm sniffing rocks, by the way, dude. I can barely breathe. I gotta blow my nose.
We can end it there. I got nothing to add. It's very it's literal monotony, just like
Yeah.
deep off season. It's nothing.
And that's a time, like you were saying earlier, too. Last point, and then we'll go. But you were saying earlier, like it's the bet that is the time to be a robot where you are. Like if deep in the off season, if I have rice cakes instead of rice, or just name any example like that, no difference at all. For you right now, something like that, or you decide to do oats because there's more fiber instead of the rice that you're used to, even something small, and tomorrow you look different. Tomorrow morning you look different than you did today. That's the time that you really see it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I won't even get produce from different, like it's the same.
Yeah.
Like I will
Yeah.
not deviate. I fill the water jugs at the same dispenser down the road. Like every little detail, my salt, it all has to be the same because you don't, like we're talking, ounces of fat at this point that you want to try to pull off because for me, it's like, all right, I can't train the way I want. There's no fulfillment there. What can I tie myself to? So it's like, all right, Munzer minus death. I am going to be an anatomy chart. I hope people talk
Fucking
about my
Yates, bro. You're
conditioning
bringing the fucking
all
Yates.
across I want to be talked about by people who don't even know me. I want to, I see that guy, like, okay, he's insanely peeled because
Healed.
his skull.
Everybody leaves a comment on the main photo that you want to post, back double, back fucking Christmas tree, whatever. When you put it up there and 100 people commented on it, all with the singular word peeled, it's nice, man. I'm not doing it for that. We're not doing it for that. But
That's what I've had to tie myself to right
when
now.
you
Just to,
catch
like,
the respect though of
stay
your
with it.
peers and people that you respect, it's rewarding. So just bring it, dude. Just show it to us with the fucking spray tan. That's all we see that you did the work already.
Oh, the spray tan. See, I hate that part.
Nah, no, this is the year that you embrace that too, because that day,
Yeah.
that's the main thing, bro. That's the main thing. What you're gonna do all that, and then the final couple hours you're gonna fuck it up and not pose or not have a good tan or whatever. We want to see you nail it, bro.
We'll get it.
Yeah.
We'll report back. So, like,
All
share,
right,
comment,
buddy.
subscribe.
Ring
Thanks
the
for listening,
bell.
guys.